Hello, class. I am excited to share with you a book that is eloquently written by Mary Ann Hoberman and brilliantly illustrated by Marla Fries. What is really fantastic about how these two work together is that if you are only to hear the book and never ever see the illustration, the words are so beautiful, and the imagery that you can create with the words alone will share with you what this story is all about. On the flip side, the illustrations are so marvelous that if you don't hear a word of the book and only look at the illustrations, it's very obvious the story content and the line. But together they create this synergy that is just fabulous. They are an amazing team. The book is a wonderful illustration of a young family and all the joys and contentment that they have with their first newborn, and it leads up to this frenzied chaos as 6 additional children are added to the family, and the individual needs of each of those children and how they're being met. I think that it is a super relatable story, and it's endearing to my heart, and I think that it's simply brilliant. The genre is picture books, and I'd like to introduce you to 7 Silly Eaters. It starts off, like I said, real peaceful, and you can tell that the family is just thrilled to have the start of their own little family, and mom is still playing her instrument and has hobbies, but quickly as children are added and needs need to be met and the demands of family life tug at her, it gets a little more strenuous. Something else that I like about how the author writes is the print is written in different spots on the paper, and so it kind of gives you an idea of where to pause for a long time or where things will be more drawn out than others. So I think that's really brilliant in children's literature to help them know where appropriate pauses are. And I think also something fabulous about her is that she introduces big words in a context that are really easy to comprehend and understand even at a beginning reader stage. Words like bellowed and persnickety. She uses little phrases that perhaps children today don't know, like never cross, or she's feebly, or feeling drearily. So some of those words I think are wonderful that she introduces high vocabulary to them at a young age. In the midst of the most chaos and in her final breakdown, after 7 children and trying to meet the demands of each of those, the illustrator goes from the beginning of the book where there's a lot of white space and a lot of calmness and not much chaos to super chaos, and there's not very much white space, and you can see that there is action going on in every little bit of this room, and you'll find things that are maybe relatable to your growing up or to you being a parent. Loads of laundry, undone dishes, food in the process of being cooked, animals where they shouldn't be, children getting into mischief, arts and crafts, and all sorts of fun little details. It's really endearing. Well, she just is at the end of her rope, and she's exhausted, and she realizes that on the morrow it's her birthday, and who is going to celebrate for her, and who will even remember? And so she goes to bed just weary and exhausted, and the children create a plan. And I want to show you before we go on with the story that in one of the pictures here, the violin is just collecting, or the cello, just collecting dust in the corner. It's no longer being loved or used by her because she's so desperate to meet the demands of her family. But the children come up with a plan, and they're going to cook her breakfast in bed with all of her favorites. They don't know how to cook very well, and they haven't been helping in the kitchen much, so they really don't know what they're doing. But in the midst of this night, they're going to try and figure it out, and they just create this disaster of stuff, and it doesn't go right. And each person's favorite thing kind of gets clumped into the next, and the words tell you that, but the picture also brilliantly illustrates what exactly is going on. So they get to the point that there's just a disaster in the kitchen, and certainly some of you can be able to relate to that. I know that I can. And they've got to find a place to hide it, so they hide it in the oven. And I won't tell you what happens the next morning when mom wakes up, but I will tell you how she feels. she's thrilled. She's thrilled that she was remembered. She doesn't know that there is messiness and chaos in the midst of the night. She doesn't know that things didn't go the way they should have, because it does turn out perfectly. But she feels joy, and she loves each child individually for their role in creating this birthday surprise for her. And in the end, all of the children have found a way, and the sweetheart, to pitch in and help out, and look who is playing her instrument again. So, such a fabulous story of the morals of everybody has a role to play in. And though I wasn't the type of mom to be a short order cook, I was pretty much you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, eat or starve, there are other ways that I desperately spin my wheels trying so hard to do whatever it is that my kids need, to be that mom for them. And so for that reason, this story is so relatable. If I was to come up with fun ideas to do with this story, aside from the obvious cooking their favorite meals or creating a cookbook, perhaps you want to sew an apron. Maybe you would like to plant an apple tree. Perhaps you would like to be able to come up with a chore chart or make a list of all of the things that people in your family do to help out. I think those would be some great ideas, and then recognize them for it. I do hope that you'll go and check out The 7 Silly Eaters by Mary Ann Hoverman and illustrated by Marla Freese. Thank you.